There we go. We are recording. So, if you guys are aware, I posted in the community tab on YouTube a comment about a guy who was struggling, Thomas here, and we've decided to have just a coaching call for the channel. So, why don't you quickly introduce yourself? Give us a little bit of an overview of what that comment was for everybody that didn't actually read it. And we'll get into it.
Absolutely. So, my name is Thomas. I'm currently 21 years old, and I'm living in the Gold Coast. The comment was essentially just me explaining, my situation. If you're not aware, currently, I'm 30% of guys have not are essentially whatever you want to call it, incels. They're virgins. They're not have it. I think it's under 30. It's like 30 to 33%, and they're just not having relationships with the girls. And I'm actually a part of that statistic. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit it, but it is what it is. I left the comment on the channel to kind of just to let other people know, it's very common in men. A third, if you go outside and you see three men, chances are, one of them is not, getting anything from women. And so currently, as I said before, I'm living in the Gold Coast. The comment when I was younger, why do I think I'm a incel, or I'm just not achieving relationships? When I grew up, I came from a household with I had good parents, but they were mostly absent for my childhood and teenage years. I think that played a role. I was just isolated a lot. Like I played a lot of. I was just always at home. Like didn't have my parents take me to the park. I was always at home playing video games. And yeah,
Well,
my yeah,
I got to cut. Yeah, a lot of people do like they like to blame parents. I'd say if it's a financial thing, that's a big factor. Financial problems,
yeah. I
parents.
came from a low socioeconomic background as well, but
Okay.
I just want to say, even if it's my parents, the biggest thing, like it can be. Let's say I had an abusive father, and like my father was distant, but he wasn't abusive. But let's say he was, and because of him, like I had bad social skills. Even though it's his fault, but like I'm not blaming my parents, but let's say hypothetically it was their fault. It's it's my life. Even it could be someone else's fault, but it's my responsibility to overcome the challenges that, like, I'm sure you Dave, like you had a lot of challenges in your life due to your parent. I guess you could say your parents, but like it was your responsibility to overcome them. So like it can be someone else's
Mm.
fault, but it's at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to to overcome and overcome the problems you have in your life. But continuing with the story, so essentially, I grew up. I was a shy kid. I never asked out a girl at high school. In primary school, high school. I had very bad social anxiety, and like I just couldn't. I
Mm.
just struggled to talk to people, especially girls. And like my friends made fun of me about, like, I had friends, but I was always kind of the butt of the joke, and I guess that didn't really help. And going into high school, so I finished high school.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
going into
Okay. So
uni.
so yeah. So we got a good overview without going too depth.
Yeah, without
But
spending 10
one
minutes.
one 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 thing that would I would say help you immediately is to understand that no one cares about anyone else. You
Yeah,
notice that. It's like you'll notice that like quite often something bad happens to someone else. They'll be like, oh, that's bad. And some people actually feel they'll be happy that something bad happened to someone else. So when bad things happen to you, understand that most people don't care, which
yeah,
might be a bad thing, but it's also gives you the freedom to now, uh, you know, change your life in a way because no one cares. And on top of that, part of anxiety is thinking that people care about you as well. And thinking that people are judging you when people just don't care. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
But
That's
like
100%.
just to get you on camera as well, I understand you want to wear the glasses and things like that, but like when you fully understand that people just don't give a fuck, you know, then
Yeah,
then you start to have a bit more freedom. And I guess the start here would be um, are you going to do something about it? Like,
Yeah,
I guess this is actually a start. Like reaching out to me is like a start. You want to change something, have a chat and see if that is able to, have like a bit of a coaching call and see if that can change something. Um, which is good. That's definitely a step in the right direction, you know. Um, so no lays, zero lays,
zero.
zero lays. Okay, and it's like 30%, 33% of societies like that.
Yeah,
That's a real stat,
and
hey.
yeah, I think it's the thing is it's self-report. I think the I looked at the data. It's actually self-reported, so it's probably actually higher because you probably have a lot of dudes who are like not getting any, or like maybe they came close, it didn't happen, and they're probably just like like if you ask 100 people, like guys, oh, are you a virgin? Like how many like there's going to be a lot like I think a significant amount that will lie and be like yeah like I've had two I've been with two girls before, I'm not a virgin, so it could be
Mm.
higher, maybe 40%, but I'm just guessing, but 33% definitely, like 30 to 33%, it's 100%
In Australia
confirmed.
too, you think?
I don't know where the data's from, but I think Australia is probably actually worse than America because
Worse than
um
America? Really?
no, in terms of getting like in terms of getting goals, because maybe it's where I'm from. I'm from I grew up in Melbourne, and like everyone I talked to from overseas, they were like, yeah, dude, like dude, goals in overseas countries, like it's either well, I don't know, it depends because I think it depends where you are. I think um there's a lot of variables at place, but I
But
think
hang on, the
Melbourne
question is, do you think it's easier in Australia or harder?
harder in Australia
Harder in
than
Australia.
America.
Really? Okay.
Do you
Okay.
believe the opposite?
I don't know. I don't really have an issue with that because I just talk to girls and have sex with them. So, um, yeah. And if we were to have black pillars step into this stream, it's not even a stream, into this video and watch it, you literally look like Justin Bieber. Like I told you that just before I started recording. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm talking to Bieber here. And
No, but
so looks wise, tick. Um, I'm assuming you're taller than me.
6'2".
You're 6'2". Okay, six. You're taller than Bieber. So looks is not a problem. We're gonna forget about that one, right?
Yeah.
Australia is one of the wealthiest countries on planet Earth. We have almost 50K USD GDP per capita. So you could wash dishes and still probably live a very
Make a
good
good living.
life.
Yeah.
Um so we can tick financials really because you can live in your car. It's like one of those countries where you can get by anyhow. Um and really it's just connections with women and pushing through and making sure that you get laid. Um so Gold Coast is party central.
Yeah.
I've done a few immersions up there. It is easier than Sydney, that's for sure. It is a lot easier because everyone's partying, everyone's down, right? There's girls
How
everywhere.
did you go to how did like I just got to ask, I'm new, like I just moved up to Gold Coast. I'm new
Mm.
to the area. I found it hard to kind of, I guess you could say, meet new people. Like I feel like most people, like the friends they make in high school, it's like like it's I feel like a lot of people they struggle to make friends
It's
nowadays.
quickly like they've got their friends already, right? But
Yeah,
the thing is in Sydney, the hook rate is lower. So you can go over to a girl and say hello, and she just won't say anything. She'll look at
yeah,
you and give you like this evil eye sometimes, like, I'm on my way to Martin Place. And you might have to approach like 10 of them before one says hello. In the Gold Coast, it's like, I don't know, it's like 70% hook rate by comparison. So girls hook like so much more. Um, and it in the Gold Coast, if they just don't want to talk to you, they'll actually tell you. I had one girl just go, "Oh no, I don't want to talk to you." I was like, "Well, that was good. It was better than silence. At least I
yeah,
know what's going
exactly.
on." In Sydney, it's like a lot of silence. But then I stepped up again to Brisbane, and Brisbane was like 100%. It was 99%, 95. It was just the hook rate was off the charts. It was like easier than Asia. Um, so you got to get out there. So Cavill Avenue, start at Cavill Avenue. there was a great little vantage point at Cavill Avenue. There's a Hungry Jack's there. Sit there, grab a coffee. Girls walk up and down, jump up, say hello, sit back down, pop off a few approaches. The beach is flooded with girls. Almost every night in Cavill Avenue you can go out. Uh, there's what is it? Pacific? Is it Pacific
Fair.
Pacific Fair? It's a
Yeah.
fucking gold mine for girls. Um, there's these seats in the middle of Pacific Fair where you can see the bridge, and you can there's like a I think it's like a fountain, or there's water there as well. And they got like bean bags and these lounge chairs out in the open, and you just sit there and you got 360-degree, you can just spot girls everywhere. Jump up, do an approach, come back down. You got options everywhere. The nightclubs there are open almost all the time, right? You just have to watch out for all of the Tongans and the Maoris that have these massive
Yeah.
fights.
That's.
I
Did you
saw a
see that?
massive fight. I saw a massive brawl. But the thing is, while all the guys are brawling, you'll have like 50 girls standing around going, "Oh, there's a fight." And then you go over and talk to them and go, "Oh, look, fight. You got your opener already set. Tongans are
Yeah.
fighting each other."
The thing is, I actually have a bad. So I did some. I think you're gonna get a laugh out of this one. I actually did. I have some bad experience doing cold approach. So when I found out about the game when I first started uni. So it would have been about 2019, like late 2019, early 2020.
Just before
And
COVID too.
yeah, and the first video I actually ended up watching. Do you know Yad Stoppy?
Yeah.
So that was like I thought that was how it was done. And to be honest, I feel like when most people first discover PUA, they, I don't know, I feel like the most popular channels are probably the least reliable, and they give like the worst. They probably give
Mm.
like not the greatest advice. So, I went to uni, and like I was with my friends actually. It's a funny story, and um, I was like, they were all too like, they didn't want to do approaches, and I told them I was going to approach, and they're like, dude, it's fucking, it's weird, especially nowadays. But I said no. So I had watched a few videos, and I actually started yad stopping goals. So like when they were walking to uni, I would do the whole like run in front of, like jump in front of them, like, and just start a conversation. And like it was really cringe. Like I got blown out. I got blown out like a whole, especially because I think I'm taller. So I don't know. I think they would be more
Mm.
intimidated by me. So like I got blown out a whole bunch, and this was during COVID. So there was actually security guards at the front of the university to get in for like COVID reasons. And one of them actually ended up confronting me. He's like, "Hey, like, what are you doing?" Like, because a girl complained to the security guard.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
like,
that's just being just unaware socially, right?
yeah."
If you're being silly.
But like that's
Karina.
just because I didn't.
It's not. She's running
Just
past.
because I had no experience. Like I didn't really know what I was doing, especially because like at the time, I didn't really have the my social skills have gotten better, but like I was not socially calibrated at all, and I was just like, I don't know, like I just didn't
Mm.
really, I wasn't smart about it. Let's just say it.
Well, it
Let's
sounds
just say
like
that.
you realize that that's not very smart.
Yeah,
So I think so.
yeah.
You figured that
When
out.
the security guard came up to me, I think that was when I realized probably not the best idea.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. It is designed for guys that have like anxiety as well. That's why it kind of resonates. It's a little bit more difficult to walk over and just go, "Hey,"
Mm.
because it's like
So is that your opening line? Just go, hey.
I don't have an opening line. Like there's
So it's
no
situational.
there's a usually situational, but if you have
Is
no idea what you're gonna say, just say hello.
so do you
It's not
mainly do
rocket
like
science. It's
observation?
yeah, like you can make an observation, but it's also like your positioning. Like if you're running over or you're doing something too abrasive that blows out the area or draws too much attention to you, quite often the girl's gonna think, well, this guy's not very socially aware. Can I introduce him to my friends? Is he going to embarrass me in front of my parents? You know,
Yeah.
if I introduce him to my work colleagues or I have a work drinks, can I bring him, or is he going to embarrass me? And the way you approach will signal that to her, especially if you're running and jumping in front of her. So you just walk over and just be like, chill, especially on the Gold Coast. I don't think people would appreciate that type of outrageous approach.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so I definitely take it a little bit more easier, but also be aware that your goal is to get into as many interactions as possible and build as many connections as possible.
The thing
Um,
about me, I was gonna say, like I'm just, you know, I think the only way I could actually like I don't see myself approaching by myself. I just the level I'm at right now. Like I think if I had, if I had a wing or like was with other people, I just because I'm such like an
yeah.
like I've done it before, but I'm just a newbie and I've got a bit of I guess you could say like I have a bit of social anxiety. So if I was by myself, like I'd probably end up like bitching out to be honest. Like I'm keeping it 100. But if I had a wing, like I think I would definitely, be more I would definitely do it.
Mm. Yeah, that's I guess getting over the hurdle of just getting used to approaching in general. That's like
Yeah.
step one. It's like just say you're trying to learn how to play rugby, but you're scared of walking on grass. It's like, how can the coach teach you? How can you play a game if you can't walk on the grass? So
Yeah.
just walking over and so that's also a sign of anxiety too. Guys will ask, what's your opener? That's because they want everything solved for them. They're worried about the rejection. They're worried about making themselves look bad. So it's like, what is the perfect line? What is the perfect approach? And that's why a lot of the LDM sort of strategy resonated with a lot of guys because it's okay, well, this is how you run and jump in front of her, and this is how you say it. This is the exact line.
Yeah.
Hi, I saw you from over there. I had to come and meet you, you know? And then you run through the LDM model, and it's like, oh, well, I did everything correct, and she rejected me, so I can't blame myself. But if you walk over there and go, hey, and you put all of the weight on your shoulders, all of the social pressure, um, then you're responsible for that. And that's what a lot of guys don't want to take. They don't want to take responsibility for it. They don't want to say I fucked up because she said this and I didn't react. I was nervous. When in fact it's all part of the journey. Going in there and understanding that most of the time you're going to fuck everything up, you know. Um,
I have do you think that I guess you could say tonality and like body language is far more important than like what the actual words that come out of your mouth or
well, I've seen a lot of guys fake it till they make it. The thing is, if they're nervous and they don't focus on that, they stand there and they have the perfect body language, and then they look down on her, and then they move the feet. They have this same little rocking motion where the feet, I can't show you, but you see it all the time with
yeah,
the day gamers. They're
James
kind of
Tusk.
they're masking it and masking something, and quite often a socially aware woman can see straight through it. And the only real trick I would say is to just try. This is where a lot of guys talk about meditation and being present in the moment. So they say, look, if you can do some meditation, because the thing is, I say something to you, or or a girl, or just anybody, I need to be relaxed so that when you reply, I can I can process what you're saying fast. And I'm not sitting there nervous trying to process it. I don't talk over you because I'm nervous. I don't you say something related to, I don't know, the weather. Oh, it's a beautiful day. And I go, yeah, plants. It's like I'm not listening to you, you know. Or she answers the question and then she asks you a question, and then instead of answering the question, you ask her another stupid question because you're not really listening to her. That's all like about being present, and you can get there by just fucking everything up. But if you got canned lines, you're never going to really get there because all you're
Yeah,
doing is reciting canned lines and you're not practicing being present. This is why a lot of guys, the old RSD strategy of meditation was one of the most powerful that resonated with a lot of people, was purely about, she says something, you just need to register it and be relaxed enough to register what she said and reply in real time instead of panicking, talking over her, asking, going into interview mode and just uh, messing up the interaction where she walks away going, "What the fuck just happened? Okay, he's a fake number. Let me go." Um, and that really just comes through practice of just approaching lots of girls. Um, and another factor is you don't have to number close every approach, so you can take that pressure off yourself. So if you're putting all the pressure on yourself to number close every single approach, um, it puts more pressure on yourself. How about you get
Yeah,
into some indirect approaches, have a little conversation that goes nowhere, and just get used to being present. That will get you a lot. So it's like with sports, there are some things that are very difficult to overcome in the short term, but if you continue doing uh what sports did you say? I know you said that you tried surfing, but what other sports did you try?
sports I've played AFL football, basketball because I'm pretty tall,
Okay.
and surfing.
Okay, like just say AFL. I'll just use that as an
AFL.
example. You're kicking for the goal, right? And if you try to, it's almost like you got to kick the ball very hard, right? And I guess the harder you kick it, the more likely there is uh for errors. And what you do is you kick it hard all the time, and you're going to make a lot more errors in the short term. But the top end is once you start to gauge yourself, they start hitting the goal more often, if that makes any sense. And that's the same as being indirect, trying to be present in the moment, not trying to number close everything, and not trying to win, not trying to guide the kick and be very careful with the kick, so that you don't make mistakes, being aware that you're going to make a lot of mistakes, um, because it's a mental battle, especially in the early stages, and this is
Yeah,
very relevant to cold approach. It's a lot of guys, they want those early metrics, and this is why a lot of guys, when they get into it, they resonate with the number close everything, yad stop everything, get those numbers fast, so that at least you can report that you've got some victories under the belt. Um, but going out and having a bunch of good interactions where you don't try to number close or go on an instant date or push it at all, and you have a conversation that went nowhere and was like a boring conversation, but you're in fact more present and you're listening to her, that's more of a victory than going home with 20 flaky numbers, because
that's
your
true.
your top end is, your top end means that you're going to end up having better results than the guy that's stuck in getting all those numbers. Next thing you know, he's got 1,000 numbers in his phone. Next thing you know, he's figuring out how to text and upload apps and text 1,000 girls simultaneously, trying to ping text girls, and you see it all the time.
From I was gonna say, let's say someone in my shoes, or just any like let's say a guy in his early like, or just anyone pretty much. Would you recommend to focus on cold approaching, or like nightclubs, online dating, social circle? Like what out of the different ways to meet goals? What way would you, I guess you could say, would you prioritize?
So you can do day game every day, regardless. Um, Karina, is that you? No, it's not. It's someone else. Hang on. I wanted to.
I gotta get my charger. I'll just for my computer. It's about to turn off. I'll just grab it real
Oh,
quickly.
okay. Cool. I'm not sure how much longer we have. Um, yeah, so what I recommend that you do. So 21-year-old guy, 6'2", you've seen some theory online what do you think what mode? Well, let's just pick a mode, right? So if you're a bit anxiety ridden, right? Um, understanding that you need a higher verbal acuity and you need a lot more finesse to be good at day game. Understanding that you might not have a social circle right now. I'm kind of leading the witness here, but night game, night game, night game, night game. You cannot be good at day game unless you do night game. Number one.
Yeah.
And you're 21 and 6'2". Fucking, you look like Justin Bieber. Fuck, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You're like half the coaches out there. Hell, you can start up a channel tomorrow and be coach. Incel to coach. Um, so I would start with, so you're not going to feel comfortable in the nightclub, right? So
Have a
uh,
few drinks before I get there.
no, no, because alcohol is going to mask it. It's going to mask any confidence that you might build. Um, and then eventually you're going to end up with an alcohol addiction or a drug addiction. And that's going to negatively affect your results long
Yeah.
terms. So literally, day one, I would take all the pressure off yourself, go into the nightclub, sit down in the corner, be a wallflower, get yourself a Diet Coke, and play some game on your phone, and just be in the environment because you wouldn't be used to it. You also, a lot of guys, they think my first night in the nightclub, I need to be approaching girls or it's over for me. I'm finished. And what they think they need to achieve on day one is like, I need to be pulling on day one or I'm a failure. But if you can consistently turn up to the nightclub or a local bar where there's a lot of girls and there's opportunities to approach, and you just go in there immediately, like tonight, right? And you go sit down, even if it's a Monday night and there's like one girl in there, sitting in the environment, literally after a couple of weeks of you just like going and sitting in the environment, having a Diet Coke, playing with your phone, you might start to feel more and more comfortable in that environment. And you're there solo. Next thing you know, a week later, you go over and you a week later of going in almost every night in on Cavill Avenue or whatever, you're gonna meet other the security, people working behind the bar. They're gonna start seeing you every night. They're gonna start thinking you work there. um, and then you're going to be comfortable. The security, if you're really friendly with them, they're going to become your friends.
Yeah.
Like in Sydney, there was a time there where I was hitting before COVID, right? All the clubs were open. I just knew all the security guards. I'd walk in there and I just knew all the bouncers. Um, and that's you can build that up over time. You'll start to notice the same girls turning up every week, and they're the slutty ones you don't want to talk to. You want the fresh ones. And you'll get used to it, and then you'll start to be more comfortable. Then you'll be able to do a few approaches and ease your way in that way. Once you can deal with the high energy of a nightclub, then your day game will be helped by that. You
Do you think I
see?
should get a wing to go with or just go solo?
Well, straight away, you can go to a bar or a nightclub tonight and just sit there and take all the pressure off yourself. Just be in the environment, get used to it.
Yeah.
Right. If you could do an approach immediately solo by yourself, that would be a victory. Right. Um, Also, I'm sure you got a Tinder, right? I'm sure you got a
Yeah.
Tinder,
So
Bumble, Coffee and Bagel, and Hinge, and all these others. You probably get on all those and this. Um, at 16, my first lay was like a minus 20. I remember I went with a friend of mine and we met these two girls in the park, and then we went to a party. And she was a virgin as well. And I remember after sleeping with her, all of my friends coming into it was like a house party. They came into the room after I slept with her and they started telling me, it's okay, you don't have to date her. We're gonna tell everybody. They just knew that she was a two, but I needed to get that one under my belt,
yeah.
right? And funny thing was her friends heard that and went and told her, and they knew it was over. And I didn't even have a say in the matter, right? But if there's lots of house parties, there's always another girl next weekend, right?
Yeah,
So you need to get one under your belt, and that can be, that can be a -50. You just got to get that one under your belt. This is part of it. I noticed that there's guys that are less experienced. They start to see all women as angels and clean, um and like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. She's an angel. They start to see women as all angels when they don't really understand the reality because they just don't have the experience. And with that as well, they start to expect, this is part of the incel and the black pill sort of thing. They want to clean 10. They want a 10 the first time they sleep with a girl. It's like ridiculous.
a
Yep,
virgin. She has to be a virgin. 10 out of 10.
that's what they want. Yeah, they want like a supermodel 10 virgin that, you know, daddy's a billionaire as well.
To be
And
honest, if I'm being honest, I just want an average girl. But do you think that's unreal? Like, do you personally think that's unrealistic? Like, I should just get what
I
I,
wouldn't I
just
wouldn't
go
even
for what I can
think
get.
about what you want at all. I would just get one under your belt.
Okay.
So it can
What
be a
happens if
mine.
it's transgender?
Uh that's not really counted. Well, if that's your thing,
Nah, nah, it's not. It's not.
if that's your
Yep,
thing,
it's not, man.
um, I think in Australia we still know what a woman is. Um,
Not for long.
no, I think we still do because everybody I meet, if they say anything retarded, I will tell them to their face. And I think a lot of Aussies will say that as well. So I think a I think a woman is a woman. But get one under your belt. I don't think because I think a man is gonna sleep with you anyway. That's gay. Because a gay guy is always horny. So it's not
Yeah.
really getting one under your belt, is it?
Can
So
we, Dave? I think we're going off topic a little bit.
oh,
So
okay. We're not gonna
let's
talk
probably bring it
about
back.
them. We've got like
So
6 minutes left on this recording on Zoom, it turns out. But yeah, get yourself one under your belt. It could be a -1,000. But it's the experience. It's not gonna hurt you.
yeah.
Um, it has to be a girl. Um,
So you think should I do like a field report? I could do one tonight. Like let's say I go to a nightclub or a bar. I just sit in the corner for a bit. I could just I don't know send you a message of like my experience if you want.
well,
Or I'm
I
not
can
sure
tell
how
you,
to.
I can tell you what you can be trying to do every night. It's like go in there, get used to the environment, try to get some approaches in. Um, your opener is, hey, I've just come from Canada. Uh,
I
my
got a
name
bit.
my name's Justin.
I got a
Justin
better one.
Bieber, and and and
Uh,
and get into group sets. So you have to don't go looking for that one girl that runs off to the toilet, wait for her out the front of the toilet in the nightclub. You're gonna have to approach like the groups of sets. It's easier at the bar. That's always one way. Sometimes there's couches in there. You can sit next to a girl on the couch. There's always ways, but you go in there every night and get yourself used to that environment, right? Once you get yourself into group sets in a nightclub, approaching during the day is easier. Then you'll understand more about spiking because when you get into an interaction in the nightclub, and you're doing the day game conversation, oh, how's the weather? Do you like stuff? That she's just gonna walk away from you.
yeah.
You're gonna be so boring and weird. She's gonna walk away. So you're gonna learn to have a louder vocal tonality, and you're gonna have to have a more energy and more vibe, and um try to make them laugh and things like that.
I thought
Spike.
nightclubs were more the game was I guess you could say non-verbal. Like it's more like you just gesture towards the goal because like
Mm,
it's so loud. You have to basically scream into the goal's ear like to talk to her
yeah.
pretty much.
I would also recommend you put some earplugs in so you don't go deaf. If you go into the nightclubs all the time, you're going to need earplugs. That's really important. Um, because you'll start getting ringing in your ears. And when you've got earplugs in, um, you will naturally speak louder because you can't hear
Yeah,
yourself as well. And so when she's like near you, you can actually talk into her ear. That gives you an excuse to get close as well,
yeah,
you see. So talking in her ear is a good way to kind of escalate and get up close as well. And so yeah, a guy of your archetype, age, height, looks and everything, you don't want, okay, you don't want to be one of those guys that just does day game. Sydney's
yeah,
flooded with them. They're fucking weird. Um, they just are, you know.
yeah.
They're very
Yeah.
judgmental. They think they know everything about game. They're weird. They're always walking up and down George Street. You see them all the time. You never see these guys in the nightclubs, right? The guys
Which
that hit, you need the
what channel
nightclub.
do you think what channel do you think like they mostly follow subscribe to those type of guys? Like do you think old RSD, like PUA videos or
No, I think most of them don't like RSD, um, all that old school stuff. Yeah, they're the type of guys that want to see day game infields all the time. Um,
oh like they claim your fate, like oh it's your
I don't know,
fraud pretty much.
yeah, like, I think they, but it doesn't matter. You just don't want to be. That's the downfall of joining up to the day game groups is that you're gonna
There's a lot
have
of
got.
weirdos in them.
They're not gonna go to the nightclubs with you. Like I've seen guys that would spam the shit out of the street, but they'd go into the nightclub for 5 minutes and shit themselves. Um, so go in there solo. You're probably better off that they don't even know who you are, and you just chill in the nightclub, get used to the environment, get into a few group sets. Uh, do online game, try to look for opportunities there. Um, and yeah, you go. Then there's also like what type of date structure you're going to have. Texting to try and make sure that you line up
My
dates. Well, and then pulling. I've only got a minute left before this cuts off.
yeah,
But uh, to start with, you could only do if I overload you with too much to do, then nothing will get done, right?
yeah,
So really, it's just focus on these things. Hitting the nightclub on a if you can do it once, twice, 3 times every night, and just sit there, eventually you'll get into some approaches.
okay.
Um, and and that will be a good start. And do a lot of online game. And if you can get into some sets, they will come naturally in day game afterwards, I would say. And that's a good baseline for you to work on to start with. We've only got a few seconds left. So if you guys at home, I wish I had more time, but yeah, I'll have to end it. Yeah, I'll have to end it now. If you guys at home, we've run out of time. I'll see you guys in the next video.